grade. And I'm going to turn it over to Dennis and let him run this show. Dennis.
Thank you. It's easy to be a moderator with Jason. You just write a check to be a sponsor, and then he feels sorry for you and gives you a role. I am probably, compared to my colleagues on the panel here, I am the least educated person about broadband, but it is, that being aside, it is a vital importance in today's world. Those of you who live in urban areas take it for granted that there's just good internet service. There is not in lots and lots of parts of this state. So I think it's important that we talk about how we can fill that void. I mean, we all heard stories about during COVID of students, of schools parking school buses in McDonald's parking lots and people using the hotspot to do their homework and things of that nature. So that's just an example that there's a lot of the state that doesn't have solid internet service, and I think it's a need for us to provide it. And in the case of the panel today, these are all people who have reached out and said, okay, it's not in our region, but it fits in our motto. It's why we were created. I'm obviously with electric cooperatives, and I think it's a natural progression. We were created to provide power, electricity to people who didn't have power. But what we really were created for was to provide a service to those who don't have something. So over the years, cooperatives across the state have done electricity, obviously. Some have done fiber, and we'll kind of get to that. Some have done water, some have done natural gas or propane. We try to meet that need. So with that, I'm going to move to our panel, and I'll introduce them, and then I'll ask them to kind of talk for a minute about how and why they are where they are and what they're doing. Nate Brickner is with Bascom Communications. Ernie Staten is with the city of Fairlawn, and Nick Elsroth is with Paulding Putnam Electric. And again, I appreciate all of you being here. And so, why don't you guys just talk, or you know what, let me throw the first question out, and you can kind of answer the question and then talk about your own role. And I'll go first to Ernie and to Nick, and then we'll kind of come back to another question to Nate. Why are you doing it? We'll start with Ernie. Ernie, you're with the city of Fairlawn. Why not just plow snow, have a police force, have a fire department, and read the water meters? And I'm trying to say that in just, what said to you we need to do fiber and internet?
In 2017, two things collided at the same time. We were struggling with that our residents and businesses couldn't get decent, they definitely didn't have fiber optic, but couldn't get decent internet. And one of the reasons was we were on the edge. So AT&T was on one side, Frontier was on the other side, and that edge was not going to be served. And they made it very clear it wouldn't be served. Secondly, the mayor went overseas, and at that time, he thought he had a German company that was going to move headquarters into Fairlawn. Fairlawn's pretty fortunate. We have quite a few world headquarters there, and he just knew he could land them, and the German president said, your internet's terrible. We're not moving there. We're not going to come anywhere near there. So we met with the big providers like the AT&T, Spectrums, the Frontiers, with the idea that we just want to write a check. We don't want to be, we don't want to have anything to do with serving internet. We just want to give you a check and make it better in our town. They laughed at us, literally laughed at us. And when they walked out of the room, we decided that day that we would build it. We didn't know anything about it. We learned quite a bit. We built a carrier grade system, and that system's still alive and well. We have 72% of all the addresses in Fairlawn are on that, so there's 4,100 addresses. It's quite a few customers for a small little town. We've expanded to parts of Copley, parts of Akron. We're actually out to Talmadge now. So you can see what a small place building carrier grade with common sense has done. And then lastly, I'm the director of public service. That's really what I do for the city. So I do have the guys that snowplow and fix potholes and mow parks.
Nick, why don't you talk about Paulding Putnam?
Yeah, so as an electric cooperative, first and foremost, why we got into it was to create a more robust smart grid for our electric system. And so when it comes to, first and foremost for us, reliability on the electric system is paramount. And so with that, obviously we have to have a robust communication system in order to make sure we're able to reroute power and keep people's lights on. And so when you look at that and you look at the way you're going to be able to pay for that, obviously just in truck rollouts, it would take a long time to pay for a fiber project. And so obviously through some surveys and sort of reaching out to our members, we asked, and they too are very underserved in a lot of the electric areas that we serve. We serve in Northwest Ohio, Paulding and Putnam counties majority, but we serve in 6 counties in Northwest Ohio. And so anyway, when we look at that and we get the data back that says a majority of our members are underserved, and we have to find a way to create a more robust grid, it was a no-brainer for us, and our board was behind us on the decision. And so I think it also touches, to Dennis's point, the way a cooperative model is one of the principles is a concern for community. As a cooperative, we're problem solvers, and so at the end of the day, we are a not-for-profit entity, so we're not trying to put more money in our pockets, because at the end of the day, we'd just be returning it anyway. And so we see a need, see a problem, and go out and fix it.
Okay. Nate, your company's a little bit different. You're not one of the large ones, as Ernie said, or not, at least in the what we call the big three. Tell us about your company. It's unique. I've read about it. I understand it. Tell me a little bit about your company and how you're different and what you do.
Yeah, we are a service provider. We've been a service provider since 1906. Same concept. We were stuck in the middle between 2 belt companies back in the day, and they went, all the farmers in the area said, hey, we would like this telephone service stuff. They said, absolutely not, good luck, go for it. So, our company was started because the farmers on the area, they connected all of their barbed wire between their farms together, and those were our first copper lines. So it's that ingenuity and that rural togetherness that we've always done. Unfortunately, it's 2025. We're 119 years later, and we're still building out to areas that still do not have service from the big boys. So that's kind of where we're at. We're cooperative also. We're collaborating with North Central Electric on some projects. We've gone out and gotten some federal funding. We've gotten some funding from the state to build some middle mile networks. We're part of a overall consortium, CNI, which is 22 independent phone companies throughout Ohio that we've connected. We serve stuff through Ornet. It's pretty much the eastern half of the state at this point. And so we're in a little bit of everything. So, but our goal, just like everybody else's, has been, though slower than some and slower than we want sometimes, is to possibly just get out there to the people that need it.
Okay. You touched on a point there about some federal funds. We'll go back to Ernie and Nick then just for a second, or Ernie and Nick for a second. Are these projects that you're doing, are they self-funded, or did you reach out to governmental funds that are assistance? We'll start with Ernie again.
The entire Fairlawn build was self-funded, so we weren't saved by the federal government in any way. The build that is currently going on with Summit County, we partnered with Summit County. We are the operator of their fiber network. That is federally funded through ARPA funds. They made a decision that they would use their funds with the idea that they are creating something for the future, not just fixing a problem right now, like a bridge or a road or something like that. They want to create something that would sustain. So that is ARPA money, but everything that Fairlawn has built and operates on their own is all self-funded.
And Ernie, you said you're serving a couple of other cities now. Will you continue to serve if another city came to you? You don't have a problem providing service to a community that is not Fairlawn, is that correct?
That's correct. We would operate it and we would get service there. Now, saying that, we wouldn't build within the community. I like to say numerous times that it's kind of political suicide for the mayor to take money outside of your city and build it in someone else's city. So it's very similar to what you see that happens with utility projects like water lines. Water lines, the city of Akron doesn't build water lines outside of Akron. It's always the communities that build those water lines, and then Akron serves them. So it would be the same model that's been used for many years.
Okay. Nick, how about you? Did you guys self-fund or?
We did, and so when we did our feasibility study, we went into it with our board to make sure that it could be feasible with self-funding. Now, we did go after some of the BEAD money recently, and preliminarily, I'll put an asterisk, preliminarily, have been awarded. We actually do serve into Indiana as well, and so as maybe we don't know, but those are done per state, and so we've been awarded preliminarily in both states, and part of that is member areas and part of it is non-member, and that's part of the piece that we're learning too, is obviously with territory boundaries on the electric side, we're accustomed to just our territory, and we're actively looking at areas that we can help out and do outside of our membership.
So you're comfortable providing fiber to someone that you don't sell electricity to?
Yeah, because there are companies and very good local telcos and ISPs that are within our footprint, not everywhere, but they're ones that are within our footprint. And so when the board made the decision and gave us funding to do our entire membership, we've been actively looking at each of those members that might already have fiber and reallocate those dollars to a non-member area that we can help out, because like I said at the beginning, we're just trying to get fiber out to everybody, even if they're not a member.
And Nate, I'm gonna ask you, so you mentioned that do most of the projects you use some sort of federal or state money, or are you some of them self-funded? And
Actually,
you talked about you're a cooperative. Will you serve someone who's not a member of your cooperative, or do they have to be a member of your cooperative to then receive service?
So up to this point, most of our stuff has been self-funded. I mean, we have approximately just under $20 million in fiber in the ground at this point. Out of the grants, we got $350,000. So up to now, we also have preliminarily won BEAD money, so that's kind of where that's going. So most of the stuff has been self-funded. We've just kind of gone to where we could go to. We have a fixed wireless portion too that comes off of our network, and that's kind of we use that as kind of a prospecting tool to an extent to see where the need is and where we need to go, and then we built fiber from there. Anyone that has our fiber is a member of the cooperative. Anyone that has the wireless is not. So we can go just about anywhere we need to go. We have edge out authority through the PUCO, and we've just been kind of expanding from there.
So you are regulated by PUCO?
Yes, we are.
And then Nick and Ernie, are your fiber parks, are they regulated by PUCO as well?
We are not. We're a municipal fiber utility, so we are not regulated by PUCO.
And Nick, I know as a cooperative, we're not PUCO regulated, but when you go to fiber, are you by chance? And I guess I will show my ignorance here and tell us what BEAD money is. I've heard that a couple of you mentioned that.
So BEAD money was part of the infrastructure grant program. It was the 42 billion, yeah. Yeah,
Billion with a B.
That came out. Each state was allocated broadband equity access and deployment. Yep. Thank you. So Ohio was given $792 million. They just went through the BEAD process, and I believe it was around 400 million that was allocated so far. So.
Okay, I just wanted to do that. So I'm going to ask this next question, and we'll just start with Ernie again. So it's great, you wake up and you realize you have a need. Did you have more to say, Nick? I'm sorry. Okay. With my glasses, like you move in and out of my read and not read phase. So here, but you all have said, there was a need, and you decided you're gonna do it, and I think that's all phenomenal, and it's great for the citizens of your state or the customers of your cooperative. But what, as you started into it, as we started with any project, there's always impediments, there's always problems. Let's all, if each of you talk about, so if someone here in the room is listening, they're gonna be like, okay, I know to avoid that. Talk about what was your first big impediment, Ernie?
At the City of Fairlawn, we did not have a back office. So we had a billing department of taxes, but we didn't have electric, we didn't have water, sewer. All of that was done by someone else. Akron takes care of the water, Summit County takes care of sewer charges. We didn't have that back office. So that was the first challenge, was putting a back office in place. And I'm sure all of you know, if you're not able to take care of the money that comes in, you can't operate in the future. So I think for us, that was the first hurdle that we really had to overcome. Second hurdle is obviously you're going to be out there working against other ISPs. We were very fortunate with the idea that, what I told earlier, that they came into my conference room, I told them we'd give them $10 million. They decided they didn't want to do the work. So every time that there was any mud that they were slinging or any bad press, the answer was you had the opportunity, and that's really calmed that situation down. But I do think going into any type of build like that, you really need to think about the competition that's out there and how you're going to deal with that competition. Not on getting customers, on how you're going to deal with them, that you're stepping in a space that they have ruled for quite some time.
Nick, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, it's a startup company for us, so there's a lot of challenges with any startup, and it starts with just the mindset for our employees. We've been accustomed to where we've kind of, in the electric industry, been a monopoly, more or less, right? We have territory boundaries that protect us, versus as an ISP, we are competing for the same customers that might have, I don't know, fixed wireless, satellite, or even fiber. And so with that, I think there's challenges with every department. I mean, like I said, it starts with the employees and getting them trained up, getting all of your back-end processes and software set up. Yes, we have been a service provider for our entire existence, but it is a different service that is competitive, and we have to understand that people will say no to us that we've never been accustomed to before. And so, yeah, there's a lot of challenges with it also. The list could go on.
Nate, how about you? You want to talk about your challenges?
Our challenges have been scaling workforce. You know, we pass about 6,000 to 7,000 homes now, something to that effect. We're with the collaboration with North Central and our potential BEAD expansion. We're going to double or triple that number. We've been able to operate with a minimal staff for a long time, but now that you're getting into cybersecurity, more stuff like that, and reaching out into different areas, you're no longer the local guy anymore. So we have to deal with those scaling operations that we're just not used to. We've been able to do that, and it's just the timing. It's amazing how upset people get when they see you working, that you're not doing it fast enough. I want to move faster, trust me. We're moving as fast as we can, but it is, out of all the things that we have, we get a lot of praise from people on a lot of different things, but it's, as soon as you drive down within a mile from their house and you haven't hooked them up yet, they are very unhappy. So I would say those are, and railroads, sorry, railroads. Just railroads in general, anybody, railroads. Yeah, that's all I have to say.
I second both of those last two comments. But I think the other thing too, just to hit on one last thing, is also with us, obviously we've been an electric utility for 90 years, and this is to be seen as the long game, right? Mm-hmm. And I think to Nate's point on wanting it right now, because everything is always at our fingertips. Our phones have everything we would ever want at our fingertips, and so everybody has the expectation that it's going to happen overnight. And when we, even from the bottom to the top, people expect that our members are gonna take the service right away and that we're gonna hit the metrics that they wanna see. And it takes time. I mean, it doesn't just happen overnight. And so some of those are the challenges on making sure that whether it's in the boardroom or even members, stay patient.
Ernie, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I would agree with the long game. That's what, and I think that's why you're seeing all the investment by the larger companies now today, and larger companies being the ones that are overseas, making the big investments into the infrastructure, because it is a long game. There's a payback, and it will continue to pay back. So, yeah, I hear you. That's really tough. A little easier for government because in our mind that it's a service for our individuals. It's no different than any other service that we would give. We build roads, we build water lines, all of that. They're all long games to us. So it kind of fits with government, but I can see that it would be hard for the cooperatives.
And I guess I'll ask this question just as someone here is thinking about trying to start something up. Are you all hiring your own fiber staffs, or are you contracting that out? And if a community in here thinks to start that process, do they need to hire a whole staff, or is there a world of contractors that you can use? And we'll start with Nate this time.
We do both. Some of our mainline stuff that's contracted out, we do our own drops, we do our own service splicing, things like that. All of our support is in-house, or at least in Ohio. So most of that we're getting in-house. We're dealing with, Ernie Staten has a program right now for construction. Some of the local vocational schools are doing some things. So we're working with, and Tiffin University has a very good cyber program that's nationally recognized. So we've been getting a lot of interns from those programs to bring in-house. We've kind of taken the tact of what we do, we can teach. So, we have found that the more people that are gurus are not gurus. So we would rather, if you have certain soft skills, we will take you and we will teach you. We want you to fit, we want you to buy into what we're doing and go from there. But as starting it up, there's places all over that do it. I'm sure Nick is in the same boat. As soon as they announced the bead stuff, I had 15 voicemails of people that were ready to help me, which is great because it gives us options. But we're lucky. One of our biggest mainline contractors is like 15 minutes from our office. So they like the local stuff. We like the local stuff. So it works out really well for us.
Yeah, ours came down when we set up the cooperative. We had to make the decision whether it was going to be a division of the co-op or a subsidiary, and so we chose to have it be a division for a couple of reasons. But we have electric employees that now cross over, including myself, that do both electric and broadband. And then we too have contracted, just because of the pace that we're going out at, both the main line being constructed and our drops. And over time, the goal is to do things in-house 100%. But obviously with, as Nate was, workforce is a challenge, and you balance obviously how quickly you can get people in and get them trained. And so we use the same upstream provider, C&I, that Nate had spoke on earlier. That's like Buckeye Power to us on the broadband side. And so they've been great to work with, and they provide us services as well as some of the others that we partner with. But we now have between five to seven broadband employees out of the 55 employees that we have, and we're growing with that rapidly every day.
Ernie, what about you? Ernie, what about you?
All the mainline infrastructure, we decided that we would hire that out, use contractors on a regular basis. We keep about 4 or 5 contractors busy with drops and with mainline. we decided early on that there were two focuses on the business that we wanted to hit. We wanted to have customer service, and we wanted to be on cutting edge. So we put our dollars for the talent of behind the scenes, doing the data center work, and then customer service, keeping everyone happy. We kind of stuck with a goal. Again, as a service director, I have the sewers that are within my realm. If the sewer backs up at a house, we have to react by that second. So we just took that same philosophy on FairlawnGig, and if you call in and you have a problem, we can't fix it remotely right then and there. We roll a truck to your house right away with that idea that we're taking care of not only the residents, but these customers of the service. So both of them talked about an upstream provider. One of the big changes that we made that you'll see some are doing in the industry, we decided not to use heavy upstream, and we lease fiber that takes us to numerous data centers around the country. And at those data centers, most of them have iAccess, and that's really where the content people are at. So the Facebook, the Google, everyone is kind of in a meet me room, right? And we set up shop in there, and we connect directly to the content providers. The difference that makes makes it really secure. It's less money for upstream overall, and we have a greater or a lesser latency for our customers because of it. So we've just gone about it different. Just here lately, we've decided to improve our data center. We're putting 22 more racks in. We built that data center for FairlawnGig, but also for the idea that if there's a Fairlawn business that wants to move here or has needs that are already in our city, you have a location to have secure equipment.
Okay. Why don't we've got about 15 minutes, or almost 15 minutes. Why don't each of you kind of sum up for us, and then we'll open it up to questions in the audience. Does that work well?
I'm sorry, I took probably I summed it up there with my last comments, but I think, for us, it is very difficult to think that a city would go about this in the way that we did go about it. We actually went to Chattanooga in 2013. That's when the lights started turning on for us. And I think I'll leave you with this. The mayor of Chattanooga had two really good comments when we met with him. The first one was he thought building out Chattanooga, which is what has been considered the world-class build by a city. He thought Google was coming, Apple was coming. I mean, he thought the next day that they turned it on, they would be there, and they never showed up. What did show up was the small guys, the small attorney firms that had high payroll taxes. Now, looking back, he's glad that he didn't get the Googles and Apples of this world. And his second comment was, it's not if you build it, they will come. It's if you never build it, they will never come. And I think that was a great comment. And that really left us with the idea that we were going to build this thing in Fairlawn and come up with a world class. We wanted it to be carrier grade, and I think we've pulled that off.
Thank you, that's great. Okay.
Yeah, I kind of disappointed to go after that, but no, I mean to that, utilities drive economic growth, and so we saw that, like I spoke at the beginning, we're problem solvers as a cooperative, and I might be biased that the cooperative business model, in my opinion, is the best business model just because it puts it in the end user's hands to make decisions, and so we are the drivers of where growth in our communities is going to happen. And as an electric utility, we've identified that that growth isn't going to come if there's not connectivity. Businesses aren't going to invest in our area. There's not going to be more houses built in our area if there's not connectivity to the outside world. And so if we can be the drivers to helping promote growth in our area, both from the electric side as well as through connectivity, then that's how we got it and why we got into it. And I think that over time we'll see that in the areas that we serve that there is going to be economic growth.
Yeah, I mean, everywhere you can see it, the economic impact is that people are moving out of cities and they want to go into rural areas. We're seeing that, everybody's seeing that. You know, talking with economic development in our area, you know, they said the first thing that they ask about is what you have fiber there, if they're gonna build a facility or anything like that. So we wanna do that. The one thing about all three of us is the accountability. So all three of our companies have an accountability that the big boys don't have. You know, because we live there. We have the service, we're the ones that have to show up. So we can't just sit there and throw something at it and just say, okay, here it is. No, we actually have to provide it, we have to stand behind it, we have to support it. And that is the difference between all of us. You know, I always joke that, you know, I served my parents and my grandparents, and you don't want to piss my grandma off. So, like, you want to get that, we want to have that same service for everybody. So we're, you know, yeah, it may be slower than some people care for, but at the end of the day, yes, we're going to roll out that same day or that night or whatever it is. We're going to go out and take care of that, because I get stopped in Kroger and say, hey, you know, why were the cabs on the different channel last night? You know, stuff like that. So, but that's fine, because I'm out in that community, they see me, they see our staff, it's the same staff that's putting it in, that's supporting it. We're growing that business, and more people are getting onto it, and that's what they want. They want not just the fast speeds, but they want the support. You know, some of the big boys can throw out 5 gig, 10 gig, whatever it is, to some of these places for $10 a month. We're not gonna play that game, because it doesn't make any economic impact for any of us, because it's just gonna fail. So at the end of the day, we are all accountable for what we do. So, and it's not just a co-op thing, it's the fact that we're there using the same service, putting in the same service, and we have to stand behind it. So that's our differentiator, and that's why we do what we do, because we have to be able to take that pride and stand behind what we're doing. And the people that we care about need it. That's at the end of the day.
And then not piss your grandma off.
Not this
It is funny, amazing how grandmas come into discussions. I have a colleague who designs industrial parks for a southern utility, and she'll always say, and when she does a presentation like this, if you don't want to bring your grandma to the park and tell her, and so she thinks it's nice, then you've built the wrong industrial park. So I don't know, the grandmas seem to, that's between grandmas and then don't mess with the calves, you have real problems if you can't do that. So gentlemen, I appreciate your words. I think it's a different perspective. I think I like the fact that Ernie started right off with this story about the German company. It is an actual part of economic development now. It's not just an aside. It's as important as water or sewer or power or any other subject. It's otherwise it doesn't exist. Companies need to have that, and we can't prosper and grow otherwise. So